Wow. North side. Okay, call a meeting order for finance and personnel. Application of plans, so we'll be meeting now.
Yeah, it was posted online and on the front door last Friday.
Roll call, myself, Al, Jeremy,
Yep.
Bill, Harry, Chris, Pat, Tom. In attendance and Public Works, Mike, Trevor, Ethan. Everybody?
So far.
Okay.
I imagine the other guys might show up after.
Approval of the previous minutes.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Okay.
We might just change the agenda around just a little bit. Brian from Ellers is on his way here, but he called me before 4 saying he had some car trouble. So he was gonna be there.
No, do no.
And then I spoke too soon.
There it is.
Right on time.
There it is. Right on time.
Hey, Brian, you made it. You're
Made it.
right on time.
Yeah.
What was your car? Maybe you could take a break.
I'll give you a little bit first.
Start anytime, no worries.
Okay. Yeah.
Did my duty trying to go paper free things.
Yeah, I made copies for the paper three.
I'm trying my best. It's not very successful.
So the chairman done.
All right.
I can work on the screen too here. Show there.
Yeah, I'll just slide.
All right. See mainly familiar faces, but just go ahead and introduce myself again. Brian Riley with Ellers. Most recently worked with all of you on a few series of financings last year, primarily related to TID 3 and kind of redoing some restructuring, buying some time sort of thing, which we'll revisit, I think, at another point, unless you want to delve in deeper today. We'll talk about the TIF districts themselves just briefly, because I figured you'd maybe want an update with the new values that came out in August. But we also did some interim financing for the ineligible costs related to your Clean Water Fund loan, primarily streets and stormwater. And the concept there was really you were getting tight on your borrowing capacity up until that point, being general obligation borrowing capacity, which is limited under law. And so we took the approach of taking an interim step, dealing with some of the debt outstanding, recasting it to some degree, buying TID 3 some time, and fully intended to then come back this year and set out the general fund portion of what was an interim note. And turn that into fully amortizing payments of principal and interest, et cetera, which would be paid from the tax levy. All right. And so here today to talk most specifically about that, but I'll entertain any other questions you might have to go along the way too. What we really wanted to have happen was get the values that came out in August, not just for, the village at large, but also for the TIF districts, review those, make sure they're in okay shape to proceed over the course of the next fiscal year. You were also going through a rate case with the PSC. Allow some time for that to unfold. The other piece of the interim note that I'm referring to was related to the water portion, the water improvements that were done. And so that needs to get dealt at some point too. Again, happy to address questions, but want to try to keep it as tight as possible, understanding that I'm probably throwing a lot at you here all at one time. So why don't we walk through the TID 3 and 4 quickly, just kind of look at the cash flows. One of which I'll kind of tee it up for a subsequent conversation that's maybe not for today. And while the numbers get a little small here, I just want to set out a few things. TID 3 went up in value substantially, which was to some degree expected, but uncertain. And so the way the debt was originally set out, there were 3 issues that demanded something in the neighborhood of, I want to say, almost $400,000 a year in debt service. The district just was not producing enough revenue to support that. And over the course of time, the debt is getting paid, but it's coming from cash on hand, largely from the general fund. All right. And so you can see in the upper right-hand corner, through the end of fiscal 24, the advance from the general fund has accumulated to about $1 million. All right. And so last year's efforts were really to stick a pin in that for the time being, and allow for the benefit of time. And we knew it was going to unfold in terms of additional value. And so as of right now, the note that was done last year specifically for TID 3 debt, there were two of them, remember, is in interest only mode. And in fact, we included enough to cash flow the interest due this year. And so as you're looking at this, you can see there's an annual balance that's positive for 2025. And that should be a good thing because it allows the general fund to at least recover a little bit of cash, and build that balance back up. But something does need to be done over the course of time. I think it's probably warranted that we wait for another period of new valuations to come out in August and revisit the plan. We have until essentially 2029 to get the debt recast. Last year also, we were able to invoke 2 3-year extensions that are stacking. And so another 6 years of revenue, that's where you see the dashed line in the additional 6 years. The unextended life was 2034, final year of revenue, and is now 2040. And so that's 6 years of additional time. Just at today, if you look at revenue forecasted for 2026, that's going to be something like, $1,350,000. It's going to be substantial, right? It's going to be close to $1.5 million over the course of that 6-year period. We'll see how things go. So that was a valuable bit of work there in terms of invoking the extension. It also allows us to stretch some of the debt out a little longer, which reduces the annual payment requirements. And so again, with the passage of time, we would hope to see additional value there, which will give us a better ability to put the debt back into regular payments of principal and interest. Right now, there's a pretty close match between revenue and expense. Expense in this case is debt service. So rather than multi-$100,000 deficit, we're looking at about $20,000 potentially for 2026, which is manageable and can be dealt with. Any immediate questions on TID 3? All right, TID number 4 also has some debt outstanding. In this case, again, similar profile in that the value did go up year over year, not quite by 2 times. We did a 3-year extension to TID 4. That was the only extension available. TID 3 was created earlier, and so under law had really 2 forms of extensions available. We took both. Why not? You can always close it early if you want to. In this case, we could get the 3, and it was granted. And again, that's going to have some measure of benefit. You can see the debt outstanding at about $65,500 a year. The district is going to positively cash flow most likely in 26. We don't have the tax rate for payable 26 yet, so we're just using the 25 rate and extending that forward throughout the rest of the forecast period. So I would say as of right now, this district is in okay shape, positive cash flow. If you go out through the end of the life, it's a small positive balance, but it's positive. Last year at this time, it was negative, and so it was not likely to recover all of its costs. But in this case, we're looking okay. Again, if the district performs better than forecast, you can always close them early. But we have the ability to go a little longer with the revenue than we did previously. The general fund advance to TID 4 was about $377,000 at the end of fiscal 24. Again, 25 negative negative annual balance, but in 26 and going forward should be positive balances, and so then takes pressure off of the general fund as well. Right. Okay, let's then pivot and talk more specifically about general obligation debt and what the proposed financing plan would be for this period. And what you're seeing in front of you, that is all of the general obligation debt outstanding for the village, regardless of how it's paid. You just looked at TID 4. There's some GO debt paid from TID 4 and does not fall on the levy, but it does count against your borrowing limitation. Your statutory borrowing capacity is about $8.9 million, 5% of your total equalized value of just over $178 million. As of right now, you have about 1 million outstanding. Last year at this time, we were creeping up close to the limit, because you had some interim financing in place until the Clean Water Fund loan closed. And then also, if you look over to the right, we do have those anticipation notes outstanding. They don't technically count against your debt limit, but you have to reserve enough capacity to take them out at their stated maturity dates and turn them into essentially geo debt. You're not obligated to turn them into geo debt. You can always pay them off early, but I think by and large, we're gonna be looking at extending these into full payments of principal and interest, specifically the first one. But then over the course of time, we just need to make sure that we're abiding by that covenant, and you meet that from a compliance perspective. So there's no real issue there. The Series A of 2024, that's below $2.775 million. It's not quite equally distributed between the general fund and the water utility. So again, there's streets and what is essentially curb and gutter, some collection. That's the general fund portion. The rest of it is water. All right. We'll deal with the water, I think, most likely in 2026. We'll get the full year of your second phase of rate increase through the end of fiscal 25. So we'll be able to see, essentially what the debt capacity is of the water utility. And I don't mean like there's a limitation. I mean, here's how much revenue it's producing. Here are the operating costs. Here's what's left over to service debt. And that will be informative to how we'll look at that one. But again, having that full fiscal period in the can, I think will be a big benefit to the forecast and how that looks. The other note was comprised entirely of refinancing of the TID 3 debt. And again, that was only and wholly related to putting that district in a position where the revenues better matched up with the expense profile. Again, what was happening every year is you were dipping into cash reserves to support the debt payments. The debt is going to get paid, especially general obligation debt. It's a full faith and credit pledge. That means from any available source. And then the ultimate pledge for general obligation debt is your unlimited taxing authority. And so you had not been taxing for it, but you have been using cash on hand to support the debt service. All right, everybody good on the geo debt profile? All right, so clearly we have enough capacity to support additional debt, but we need to pay mind of the fact that you have these other issues that technically don't count, but we have to reserve enough capacity over time to do something with them in the future. The next chart looks at what you are levying for debt service on your existing debt. And so in this case, I got the wrong numbers in there for you're not levying $2.512 million. In any event, the levy for debt service for fiscal 25 was about $115,000. That equates to a tax rate per thousand of value of 76 cents. All right, so for a $100,000 property, that's $76 a year, only for debt service. Everybody on board with that? So out of your total millage, on an equalized basis, not assessed, 76 cents of your total mill rate or tax rate is going specifically to service general obligation debt outstanding. And based on your current debt profile, this is what it looks like over the course of time. Year over year, you would be scheduled to drop nominally because you do have some debt falling off. And then again, there's another step down from 27 into 28 as another debt issue is fully retired. As of 2032, based on your current debt, you would have no further debt service. Now, in the real world, every jurisdiction, just like you, continues to kind of backfill, right? You have other things come up. You have streets, you have equipment, you have other capital needs. And so invariably, this isn't going to look like that over the course of 10 years, but just on paper, that's your existing debt profile, all right? So for this year, the primary objective would be to refinance and put into amortizing mode the portion of the 2024 note that was specifically related to streets and stormwater. Along with that, you do have some potential new money needs that would get financed under a single issue, which is just fine. You can combine refinancing and new money needs in a debt issue, no problems there. In this case, you've got a couple street projects, 170,000, And then plow truck at 150,000. And so when we're building the debt, we can do what we like. Right? Yeah, I mean, you as well. And so you go to the bank, you don't have to just accept level payments, whatever they tell you, monthly payments, we can dictate terms in terms of what this looks like. So you have latitude. It's not like a consumer loan where you're paying the same thing every month. There's nothing in law that says you can't structure the debt as you see fit. And so in this case, you've got some long-lived assets in terms of street improvements, and the maximum term for any general obligation debt is 20 years from the date of issue. The lives of those assets should live longer than 20 years. So that part of the debt would be amortized over 20 years. The plow truck, it may last longer than 10 years, not without, some maintenance and upkeep, but that is fully retired within a 10-year term, $150,000. And again, I'm looking for feedback if you want to provide any, because we're not at a point where we can't.
Where did we get to 150?
Estimates.
Yeah.
That the guys gave me saying this is what we need to buy a truck at our needs.
Based on new or used?
Years.
Question on the tax,
Add another 100,000 for a new.
Probably.
tax levy rate for debt service, he said $76 per out. How does that compare to? maybe-
Actually, it's $7.60.
How does that compare?
You're on the low end. So at 76 cents per thousand just for debt service. I would say for a community of your size, it's not uncommon to see maybe double that on an average basis. But everybody has different circumstances. It's very hard to do peer comparisons, especially in Wisconsin, because it's very common for communities to just potentially use bank financing, and they made the banks like 10 years. And so they kind of just tell them, hey, 600,000, sure, we'll do a 10-year note and you just pay it off in 10 years. Well, those assets probably live longer than that and still might be a little aggressive. So I would say the high end on a tax rate, specifically for debt services, if you get to about $3 per thousand, because that's comprising something like a third of the overall or more tax rate, which is high comparatively speaking. But I would say you're on the lower end of the spectrum. All right, so the other portion of the debt would be constituted entirely of refinancing the general fund portion of that 2024 note, right? And then we leave the water portion alone. So the 1.7 million of what you're seeing here of 2,023,000 is dealing with debt that you already have outstanding and refinancing that into permanent financing with regular payments of principal and interest. And again, the reason that we're having this conversation today is because the goal, as I look at the calendar, is to have this essentially done so that you can get it into the budget and get it included in the levy. Because otherwise, your only funding source for the interest next year is cash on hand. There is no levy authority associated with a note anticipation note. And again, that was generally the plan all along, starting from last year, was to put you in a position this year to take this action. And so, go ahead.
Is it worth talking about how you refund just the water or just the non-water portion of the note, that we just make a payment to cover, to cover that amount that we're going to be borrowing, and then we continue to make level payments on the remainder?
Yeah, so when we built the debt, you'll remember we were able to go out to proposals. We ended up working with Partners Bank on the larger issue specifically. And then I think this one is owned by Bank of Elma, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll have to look back. But any event, the debt is prepayable anytime. And when we built it multi-purpose. So there's a distinct structure, interest, and then the balloon for the general fund portion and another for the water. And so we have the ability to calculate that payoff up to that date, and we'll confirm with the bank. So we'll handle all the logistical aspects, and then you'll be left only with the water portion. And so when you get payment advice, it will be representative of only the interest due for water from the last payment period. And so there's a number of different ways to handle the interest through the redemption date. We assume that you'll essentially include it in the borrowing amount. You could pay cash if you wanted, but if you want to hang tight to your cash.
Where are we gonna get that much cash?
I don't have the number as far as what the interest will be, but again, We built it
Yeah.
in the most conservative way, being that interest has accrued and then you just wrap it into the permanent financing. So essentially it's capitalized and then amortized over the so life of the
Shoot some gold bars in your backyard.
The last comment I was gonna make on this slide, it doesn't have to be involved in your conversation, except for you to take some notes home with you.
Yeah.
That on the streets and equipment side, we're looking at possibly adding another item or two there. We'll talk about that, tonight a little bit too. We have a street project. I mentioned, our obligation to reimburse a contractor for previous street work. He estimated that'd be about $100,000 of work that he's already done that we would reimburse him for.
So walking away from here, we'll talk about it at the end and just, some more about a discussion and saying like, kind of go forth and do things, but we can still make changes. Nothing is locked in. You can go up or down, nothing is controlling in this regard. And with that kind of a number, what you're going to see after this isn't going to change a whole lot because that's, again, another long-lived asset that you would likely amortize over the 20 years. But I do want to point out that the way this is built, which is very common for bank financing, is that it's essentially underlying this is a 10-year structure and a 20-year structure, but the whole thing fully matures 10 years from now. And so everything after the 10th year is pushed up. And so there's a balloon maturity attached to it. And the reason for that is just many banks just aren't going to fix you a rate for longer than 10 years. It's just, they're not in that business. Will there be some that will go for longer? The answer is yes, but they drop off pretty quick. Usually your larger banks are willing to do that, but it will be prepayable anytime. I'm very confident of that, to state as much. And so having that feature puts you in a position to then extend it out when you see fit. If rates go down, you can refinance for savings and extend out longer. If at some point in the future, we're able to access the capital markets, the bond market, so to speak, with a municipal bond issue, we can go as long as 20 years with fixed rates in that capacity, but I don't think you're there yet. We need to continue to improve the credit profile of the village to keep proceeding. So I don't think that's anything to be concerned about. We do this same structure all the time, very common for bank financing in Wisconsin. So then the question is, what is the impact in terms of both borrowing capacity that we looked at, and also what does this look like from a levy perspective as you get into the budget cycle here? And so borrowing capacity wise, you're still good. Have about 6 million available, a little less than that. Again, we have to pay mind to the fact that we have these other notes outstanding, and I've done the math, still comply with all the covenants. And I think with respect to the one that has held that partner, we even just let them know what your plan is, because they did introduce some additional covenants associated with the larger of two transactions, and we want to make sure we're in good stead with them because we do have other plans as you go forward in time and you need access to capital. So again, forget about the 2035 piece, because obviously it does go way up. You're not going to make that payment. You're just going to continue on kind of the same trend that you're on with the first 9 years with this issue. And so, yes, it does increase the amount of levy for debt service. Remember that you've already completed the bulk of this in terms of the project that underlies the interim financing. So it's really debt that you already have, but now we need to start making the payments. All right. And so prospectively, the first 10 years of payments, where you've got the 10-year structure and the 20-year piece running side by side, the payments are about $182,000 a year. We are relatively conservative on interest rate. So that, should come down a little, but I'd rather shoot a little high than get overly aggressive with estimates. That does take you from the tax rate for debt service of 76 cents per thousand of value to $1.62 per thousand of value. I would say the $1.62 is just maybe a little below average or right on. All right. So it is, when you're looking at it, you can see it's a meaningful increase. I'd say comparatively, it doesn't put you out of line with a peer group of communities of your size. The line is the tax rate. That's the $1.62. And then that 182 is the annual payment requirement on the new debt only. All right. So then you can see where it stacks. I'd like to say we could take better advantage of your step downs by doing some additional structuring, but they're really not that big. And so can you defer some principal to bring down the initial impact? You can. But at some point you're going to get flat no matter what. And so while I can leave it in your hands to give me any feedback on what you might like to see differently from a tax impact perspective, there is no free lunch. If we try to reduce the early payments, we do that by pushing principal back in the structure. That means you're going to pay more in interest. So I could quantify that for you, but there's really no free lunch in this exercise. You're going to have to pay all the money back, right, at some point anyways. So I might argue that having some nominal step downs later, you're likely to have some additional debt as you go forward in time. And it's better to kind of go up and then stack behind it versus get flat and then just keep adding on. That's my own philosophy. You are all the decision makers. And so I am more than happy to take feedback from all of you on this initial.
Just to put that in plain language that I think I can understand, you're talking about potentially reducing the 182 so that the combination of the orange and the blue would be relatively flat across the.
So if you go from 27 to 28, you can see a drop down in total. You'd end up being kind of flat all along. So you'd have a lesser tax impact up front, but in total, you'd end up paying more interest. Right. But yes, it would get flatter all the way across.
If those blues were significantly more stair step-ish, it might be worth trying to do that.
That's fair. It's not a bad thing to, not be levying a lot for debt service. But this is the result of putting on new debt, and when you're already not paying a ton to begin with, it's going to go up. No thought about it. So, but again, if you wanted it to look a little different, we can still do that. I'm personally just not sure how much value that's going to provide all of you from a decision-making perspective. And in fact, we'll get to a point where you're going to have to go up most likely anyways over the course of the next 10 years.
Yeah.
The tax rate is forecasted just based on your current value, less the value captured in your tax increment districts. We're not inflating your TIDL value at all over this period of time. So what usually happens is even with nominal growth in the tax base, tax rate can be relatively flat. The dollar amount can increase, but the tax rate, kind of ebbs and flows around a number because you can levy more at the same tax rate when your tax base grows. All right, let's just talk calendar briefly, and you can ask questions anytime, but let's open things up a little broader once we're through this. So again, the objective is to have the debt issue approved, hopefully prior, but it could also be coincident with approving your budget and setting your levy, which then you would certify with the county shortly thereafter. And so without the debt in place, you don't have the levy authority to levy for the debt, if that makes sense, right? You can levy for your existing debt, you can levy the unadjusted allowable levy, but until the debt is approved by the board, you don't have the authority to levy for the debt service. And so really, you got to do it in order of priority in this case and get it approved. And then we would close after approval about 3 weeks later. So this is probably about, as fast as you could go if there were, I'm not asking you to have special meetings because I think we can accommodate your existing meeting schedule. But if there were any other meetings sprinkled in, we could shift the calendar a little bit, but ultimately, yes, I'm assuming you're going to approve your budget in November, which at the same time, we would set your levy and then shortly thereafter certify with the county. So we can fill in for what the actual meeting dates you have coming up. But ultimately, walking away from here, get the feedback on the additional dollars potentially. If you wanted to see any kind of a structure different from what we had, we can incorporate that pretty rapidly. And then what would happen is we would turn that around into a term sheet, work with you to solicit bank proposals. They would come in, we would evaluate them, essentially, lowest all-in cost, picks up the transaction. That was very much like how we did things last year. This is more straightforward to the average financial institution because it's a general obligation. It doesn't really require explanation. They all very much understand that by and large. So it should go very smoothly in my estimation.
I imagine both of our banks would.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, include the local banks as well. And then next year, again, get results, typically file your PSC report, just prior to May. It's due in May something or other. I can't remember the exact date, but at that time, we would have 25 to review and see your couple of quarters of billing at the new rates. Well, which then tells us really what a full year would look like too. And so having that in hand, we would be in position to execute on the remainder of the note that we're partially refinancing at this time. And I'd say you're really in tier 3 monitoring mode for the foreseeable future. And then we'll just need to figure that out at some point.
There's no advantage at this point for us to go further in debt or to get rid of debt. My point is we could spend as much money as we want, but going further in debt isn't gonna make any difference. We don't wanna be debt all the way out at a full 5%.
No, I mean, that's very rare as well. You should always keep something in reserve.
Right,
Well,
so we've got enough of that reserve.
so, if you're at 9 million, maybe something just below like 750 in reserve. Hopefully at all times makes sense. That's both in case of emergency, but also for opportunities that present themselves, right? I mean, most of that relates to economic development, but it's nice to be able to use borrowing as a tool for positive things as they come up as well. So, that's a long-term goal that all of you should have.
That's
Okay. Any questions, Brian?
no,
It is what it is.
are you comfortable, Chris? That's,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very much the case of we already, spent most of this money on Park Street.
Park Street.
And
Right.
basically, we're just refinancing it into long-term debt.
You don't have any control over what you ended up with.
Well, right.
I mean, you took a position and that's where we're at.
I don't have any control anyway. You guys have.
I
Yeah.
don't,
Recommendation,
We don't know what we're in control.
yeah, I think, I think you wanna leave that stair step just the way it is, 'cause I don't like paying extra interest, so we don't. have to pay it.
No, no,
I think that's perfectly fine. the way it's written.
On time.
not like,
Well, it is what it is. I mean, there's things we have
how
to
much
do.
money you got in the bank?
$1.50.
No, I mentioned talking about stuff.
$1.50.
no matter what it is.
Dividend, stock options, that's what I want.
The only thing that Brian gave me as an option to consider today was the idea of whether or not we were gonna have Quarles and Brady lawyers review the loan documents. Make sure that we meet all of tax and non-tax legislation. That's something that they've always done for our bigger.
Done before.
Yeah, we did for the last two note anticipation notes. They always review all of our clean water fund and safe drinking water fund.
Yeah,
uh,
gotta run,
loans.
gotta run through the lawyers, make sure they're,
Yeah. When you ask me if I'm comfortable with what Brian said, I'm like, yes, but that other stuff is a whole nother.
yeah, always gotta put it through the lawyers, make sure we're.
Short of any legislative changes, there really isn't anything we can do.
No, but it's just making sure that the loan is structured properly and all the legalities
Legal.
are handled.
Yes.
It's good. Thank you.
We appreciate all your information, keeping us.
Way to make it. It's simple enough. I can, yeah.
Well, thank you for that. I want all of you to be confident making decisions. That's the goal. Well, thank you. We'll work going forward and you can weigh in on any additional throw into the package, because we'll have to if we got Corals involved, we'll have to lay out what it is for financing. So we'll be good there. And then be back in October.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Good.
Very good. Appreciate all of your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay,
I guess I'll leave it up to you, Bill, to decide if you want to continue with the couple issues of what we might add to that capital financing plan, or if you want to jump the follow straight away. I mean, if you'd rather be here for that conversation, Brian, we can just.
yeah, so go ahead.
Well, the two biggest things that we would add, one, we kind of, I feel like what we have to add is to reimburse Casey Kraus for Robert Street. So we have a developer's agreement with him, refund him half the cost of the street
Building that street.
construction, for that subdivision.
And what did
Read
you,
on before.
Right, that was in the developer's agreement. Yep, everybody at this table was here when that
Yeah.
agreement was signed.
Yep.
He presented me with an estimate tonight of $200,000. That's how much he has into that road.
Perfect.
Current, well, no, that includes the asphalt that needs to be-
That's the finish work.
that's to finish it off. Yep, and then do any final, landscaping on the ditches.
Great.
Yep, so, and restoration.
that's only Dearborn
That's Robert.
or Robert.
That's Roberts from the existing asphalt out to Fairhaven and 100 feet up, Woozy on both sides. Or,
Yeah,
Who was it?
Boozy.
not, it's 100 feet up Cheris and Woozy. Cheris is the other road. That's gonna do the loop.
Ferris is a
It's got
loopy
a
road.
different name. Yeah, it's Cheris. That's what he named it. I don't know what the significance is, but Woozy comes up from the south,
Yeah.
stops at Roberts, Cheris continues up and then
Loopy
comes
road
back
on top.
down.
Yeah.
So he's got 100 feet on either side of that intersection. Basically gets us to the well house.
Yep.
Uh,
Let's open up those three.
the three lots there, yeah. So he just sent me a number at just under $200,000. So our share of that would be $100,000. That includes ditches, basically all storm sewer conveyance mechanisms. In this case, it's basically only ditches. Culverts under driveways, I might, what, he might include those. And then the road construction itself, so the base, the breaker and the geotextile and the asphalt. He's gonna get us an itemized list that's more detailed than what he just sent me tonight. And then we'll have Max review it from our engineers. So he can say, these numbers make sense or not compared on the length of the road that Casey built for us.
So then we have water and sewer all the way to Fairhaven.
We have water and sewer to that intersection. We don't go past that intersection out,
Bush intersection.
the Boozy Street intersection.
It doesn't go,
No, the lots that would front Fairhaven on the backside are gonna be serviced from the east side, those crossroads. Yeah, we don't have it stubbed out to Fair. I don't think.
I don't believe so. I think it stops.
Yep, so. So that's basically it. Like I said, we've already agreed to, and in theory, at any time in the past, we could have said, I want to get reimbursed for my road, but, the developer's agreement's a little bit maybe unclear. It's nice that he waited until basically the road was finished, or at least this segment of the road was finished before, asking for the.
Reimbursement is just for what he needs to finish.
No, it's for the
Impair.
what he's done out there. From work to date? Yep, from the end of Roberts where he started to Fairhaven and up Boozy and Cheris. And then there'll be more, he's gonna go to the north and to the south eventually.
Yeah.
And then we'll also be responsible for half of the cost of the roads to go in those areas too. I did stress to him tonight on the phone that stormwater conveyance does not mean stormwater treatment. So the pond is still his responsibility. That was a issue with Myers, if you remember. Yeah, they actually got lawyers involved to try to convince us that conveyance meant treatment. So we were going to be responsible for the pond as well as the ditches. But we were clear about that in the developer's agreement with Casey, that this was just going to be for conveyance. And he knows that and he's fine with that.
Okay.
So that would be something that I would say we would have to include in this package.
Long term,
Yep, because that's a solid known that we're gonna have to make that payment January first. We might as well include that in this long term.
okay.
Nope, or loan. The other thing is a little bit more gray. We've talked about this a little bit in the past. Uh, The colorful map here is the stormwater map for the business park. And basically what we've got is we've got two big rectangles. The rectangle on the right gets treated by the pond that's inside the rectangle. And a rectangle on the left gets treated by the pond that's below the rectangle. The big, long green area is mid-Wisconsin Concrete. That's his lot. And the one to the north of that is Tulsa. The red and the
The
yellow.
giant, everything paved.
Pretty much, yeah. So basically what happened was when we designed the stormwater system for the business park, we wanted to include what Alpha and Mid-Wisconsin were gonna do. And our engineers worked with their engineers and they gave us their plans. And they told us that they were gonna build out to a certain extent, and that was all that was included in the stormwater management, was what they were gonna build out. Not what they were gonna build out in the future, but what they were gonna build out initially. And so, as it turns out, there isn't enough capacity in the existing pond to handle what they wanna do as final buildings. Alpha, basically doubled the size of the footprint on their existing pond, or existing lot. And then the next lot that they wanna buy to the south of them, I hand wrote in there 75%. We assumed 75% build out on that lot, and they wanna hit as close to 100 as possible. On Casey's side, this green area here is his new parking lot that was not included at all in the design of the pond. The only things that were included were the yellow and the red area. In fact, to the west of the green area, across that dark black line, he also wants to include that as a parking lot or as a loading area
Talking back in the
back towards the compost.
apple side is.
Well,
And that wasn't even in the design of the business park. That 2 acres isn't even in our business park. Max gave us price estimates for a couple of options. They're on the front page. The top option was basically to develop an area before the pond that could treat some of the water off Casey's land. And then the bottom estimate was to add additional capacity to the existing pond, basically just make it bigger.
Fair.
That $172,000, I've been rounding up to $200,000 in my head. And I had approached Casey and Alpha and said, you know, you guys didn't tell us that you wanted to build out as much as you have or as much as you plan on doing, and we didn't include that in the design. We can't afford to do it. And from their point of view, they were told by the village when they bought the properties that they could do what they wanted with those properties. And unfortunately, our developers agreement is silent on the term of stormwater management. In the future, every developer's agreement that we write will have assigned to it a specific amount of storm sewer capacity for those lots. And we'll spell out, you know, you can build out 75% of the lot, and send that to our stormwater system. You want to do anything more, and you got to accommodate on-site treatment. But we didn't specify that in the existing developers agreements, and they basically feel like they were told they could build whatever they wanted there when they purchased those lots.
all right. Well, in defense of past, I think all of us will have to agree we wanted to fill that up as fast as we could.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we, not only just one person, probably all made mistakes on the other. Assuming that This is that. So. I guess we can't do anything about that. Just have to go forward here and figure out what's the best way to go and see if we can get Casey or agree on something.
Yeah.
No, this doesn't accommodate or account for, if Prosthetics Plus expands either.
It doesn't. So Prosthetics Plus is the yellow rectangle on the south side of the map. It's right above what's called the bypass ditch. And there's an arrow in pointing to that area that's called the bypass area. So the dark black lines are the stormwater shed basin areas. And Prosthetics Plus actually exists in the bypass area. So all of the water that lands on Prosthetics Plus building is not intended to go into our pond for treatment purposes.
It's supposed to go
It goes through the bypass, it goes down to the bypass ditch and
out to the,
out to the other pond. If they add on to their building, we might like to incorporate a little extra capacity in our stormwater system to handle them, depending on how they and need to shed water off their property. If the DNR told them that they had to have some treatment, it would be great if we could accommodate them. And that's one of the reasons why I've been using $200,000 in my head instead of 172, because if we're going to go to the trouble to increase the size of the pond, we're going to make sure that we make it big enough to handle Prosthetics Plus.
Yeah.
Prosthetics Plus is they're not going to build next year. They bought Randy Seamark's building and are satisfied with that for now. So they don't have an immediate need. Alpha also does not have an immediate need. They're not going to be building that second building next year. Casey right now is the only one who has an immediate need because he wants to get that parking lot finished. Our storm sewer system does have enough capacity to treat Casey's parking lot, assuming he can get the water to it. That would basically,
the green area, not his expansion where he wants to add the other 2 acres.
even with the expansion. What it does is it takes that 75% on Alpha's second lot down to 15%,
Down to what?
maybe
15.
15%.
15.
Yeah, we can't do that to Frank. You know, we can't make that a permanent solution,
Right.
but it would buy us a little bit of time. A year or two.
Well, that's, I mean, a year with not having, don't want to make it bigger if we don't have to.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, but
I don't want to spend money for no reason.
well, the issue is though, the issue is Alpha's building's taxable, parking lot. is
Parking
not.
lot.
The frustrating thing about it is Casey's, from a financial point of view, is Casey's about maxed out the value of his lot. He's got a $750,000 building on it. At some point in the future, he has said he would like to add another building on there. He actually came to the board and asked for
Yeah, let's do that.
permission to put up a coverall structure because he wanted some more undercover capacity. So in the future, he probably is likely to build something. In comparison, Alpha, their final build out for those 2 lots approaches $14 million. So I mean, just looking at Alpha, we would, we want to make sure we take care of them.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
but if we're not doing it this year, we don't have to spend the money.
You're gonna spend the money this year.
Right,
Yeah.
so.
What I had talked to Brian about earlier was, well, actually, he suggested that maybe taking this portion and treating it separately. So just having it in the back of our head that if for some reason Alpha was to move sooner, then we may have to consider financing in the moment, to handle that kind of project.
Mid-year.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to include it
If we don't have to use it today, if we have to do it in 9 months or whatever, that, whatever changes next year.
I mean, it could be a couple of years before
Yeah.
Alpha decides to finally.
It could,
build
yeah,
that.
it could be years.
Or it could
We
be
have to
5
do this.
years.
All depends what happens
Well-
with their business, what their needs are.
Right. Yeah, and Max has assured me that our system does have the capacity to treat Casey's.
To handle this,
Yeah, so I'd leave that as.
but leave that alone until we need it.
There's
Let's not spend the money if we don't have to. We have other
dig a
expenses.
damn ditch right over this bypass. Couldn't.
I'll have it here tomorrow. Well, I know where there's a mini hole doing nothing right now.
It's busy this week. It's busy this week.
You're all sitting here.
It's not
ready
gonna be
tonight.
right now.
I'm doing this after supper.
I need a shovel.
Hey,
Unless you guys had other things that you wanted to include in next year's financing, this was all that I had on my radar.
In the trim.
With-
The plow truck. Yes.
I wouldn't want to add any more. I think we have plenty.
Let's get more houses built.
Let's get some houses built and get some more tax revenue. They're going up slowly, but they're going up.
so,
Well, let's get a tech house going.
Trevor's gonna build a new house on. Yeah, right, I need to pick a lot. Build a big enough, your brother, yeah, your brother could live there with you, upstairs, downstairs, you have rent.
charging wood.
There you go.
I think we are done with you
I
then.
think we're good. All right.
Good time.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, thank you all.
Thank you.
Order's taken.
So he's gonna add another 100,000 for Kraus and 200,000 for the storm. Is that?
Not for the.
No.
Not for the farm.
We'll-
Just Kraus.
We'll get a solid number for Kraus and we'll
We're not
just
doing the farm.
keep the storm on the back burner. But allow Casey to continue what he's doing. Else he's gonna get in trouble.
Yep.
Oh, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Next.
Okay. You want
We can do public works now.
to do that first? or-
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, public works. Year in review. Well, no, we kind of started this last year. And everybody sit down and talk. And, you know, the year went, the summer projects went, and I don't feel about some things where I think we can make improvements. What equipment we might need in the future here, besides a plow truck. Where wants to start out? How you feel about January to? How you feel about how the year went, communications between the board, employees, the employees themselves?
Very busy year. Busiest I've had since we've been here. I think John's probably admitted that.
It's
The year has been busy.
I mean, I know last year was big with the construction and parking and stuff. And this year was just supposed to be kind of a, you know, beautified year, which I will say that, now Tom ran over it blasting good, but, along Highway 13 was very nice. I still don't know if we have the right equipment to do it, but we got it done. At
It's not
least-
done, though.
No, but if you go out there and look at Highway 13 compared to what it was 2 weeks ago,
It's better than it was.
I think it's quite an improvement, and unfortunately, it's at the later part of the year, where the grass maybe is not gonna come back real nice and green and stuff, but it might, and it just looks better all cleaned up, I think.
We had
I know it was
three
an
compliments
effort.
in the office already. 3 people coming to the office already commented on it.
That was me 3 times.
One was my wife.
Oh, okay. But, no, I appreciate Will's effort and everybody else that was involved, or even your discussions at that. It's like, it looks really good. Right? So, but that was kind of the year I thought we were supposed to have, but I guess we got busier than what we thought we were going to be, so. I got a few things for, as we go along here maybe, but, Al, you got anything you'd like to discuss with the crew right now?
No, at this point,
I mean,
from whatever public people have said to me, they seem to be happy. With anything that such as an immediate need like a water main break up to some of the other things. The only questions that I did have after we did that review with planning.
Outdoor recreation plan?
Yeah. There's a few things that came up. But again, that amounts to us planning or, you know, the whole walking path thing was a big deal. Sidewalks was a big deal, but that's not a crew issue in that way because they haven't been given that direction.
Right.
I mean, so that's not that.
I was gonna give you over here that you said you've been complaining about that for a decade now, of that grass on Highway 13. It only took me one meeting.
All right.
Maybe half of it was really dry though, made it.
Yeah, I know that. You know.
And maybe that's all we get is one say.
No, we can get,
You might not get more with
not all of it.
that
but
machine.
the thing is, just like when you go in the Marshall, you know, when the track's there. You always got that strip on. At least you got a barrier there that looks halfway decent set of weeds right to the road. No.
And he's been, I mean, with Mike with the Glenmores, I'm really good with that, but then in flatter spots, I was able to get the other mowers, so, I mean. The flat areas we should be able to keep up on.
So, yeah, the flat area is like, well, one day I stopped, well, we had that one section all done. And it's like, if it was kept down like that initially, I almost think that Jason probably could move that portion. You know, so take it off of these guys.
And we didn't hear anything from the railroad, did we?
Not yet.
Yeah,
We won't,
Yeah.
they don't care if it's wood or not.
They were working out there this week.
Yeah.
Will's got a lot of smiles there. You probably talked to him.
I talked to them a little. They give us. They're not giving us permission to be out there, but they're not telling us not to be out there. Cause they look at, it looks nicer is what they say.
So I should say.
They say that we gotta be 50 feet off their track, 50 feet from the farthest track, but. That's kind of hard when they got the other two side tracks.
mm-hmm,
So,
Well, the closest track to 13 is basically a dead track.
track.
I mean, we were out there today and them guys, there's what, 2 trucks out there today and none of them bothered either, you and I, so.
They're railroad people do only their job.
And they said, if we got a complaint, it'd be from the conductor before anyone else, but if they see you in a piece of machinery, they know you're out there working, you know what you're doing, but it's like when they see people walking, like kids or stuff, that's when they'll get complaints from,
Yeah,
the conductors will complain.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like, if we're out there with our high business stuff, I don't see them saying anything.
I just wanted to know that. So. He's ignoring. Jeremy, you wanna say something?
No, I think we're really good. So I think we.
That's right, Bill. I'm ignoring you.
That's right. I think we did really well. I think we had a lot of projects that helped a lot of the public, you know, like I said, the trails are awesome. You know, we just gotta keep on things like not you guys necessarily, but like us, everybody. You know, like the pond and, you know, all everything else, we can continue to grow, make progress and that we just lock off and it goes back to what it was. But no, I think from everyone did great. I heard nothing bad, like nothing that bad that I would consider, you know, viable. I had a couple nitpicky jobs, but
Well,
Somebody's
somebody's
got some of
gonna.
them, I got a freaking run wall, bitch about it.
Somebody gonna say something.
this was to you.
Need a show.
Yeah, nothing I would even nothing even to bring up, and that this is like stupid. But no, I think we do great.
The mower is doing a great job. The islands or the mediums look great. I mean, and that's what we want to see is when people drive through, that's, got some curb appeal to it.
Just appreciate everything you guys do, and it's not so much what you do Monday through Friday during the day shift, but when I see you guys working weekends, nights and holidays and before the break, Spencerama, I mean, you're definitely an asset to the community.
Yeah. Do their share of volunteering. Not just on the clock.
You're right about that. I heard a number of comments about all the help during the music and I heard a number of comments.
Yeah, you guys are, you don't live a ways away, you're part of the community.
Yeah.
Nice to see.
You're visible in the community. That's good. It's good to see you guys come out to the music and, Spencerama, and it's just good to see you, that you're there. What I like to see is, we, as a board, we're looking for what the improvement is like by the railroad. But when we hear it from other people in the community, that they've noticed it, then we're doing a good thing. You guys are doing a good thing. We're looking for, but those people out there, they see it as well. So that's good.
Yeah.
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 See the guys.
See the guys and
I
do a great job.
think.
But I'm glad some of the public is commenting on it because think about it over years, guys. Your upside down shirt pockets, all them jokes and everything.
Hear enough of them, it's nice.
You still hear them too.
I'm sure you do, but if I ever do it, tell them shut the up because you don't realize what these guys do, so.
Well,
But I'm still gonna joke too. So.
well, yeah, but. No, and I think with younger group here, I mean, I just think that it helped us out financially. Hey, I mean, look at all the
Look at
concrete.
all the concrete work they did.
Concrete work is just crazy. Oh, I mean, already getting ready for Willow Drive and stuff like that, I think that's great to have home animals taken care of. Okay.
We do have a good group of guys, as long as we just keep doing teamwork. I mean, work as a team, when there's a big project, let's work together as a team, and the past couple of months been really good. I mean, everyone's been pitching in. I mean, these guys helped out. I mean, it was their project, but we all kind of helped out as a group. And these manholes, these guys, I mean, we try helping John out when he needs handful projects. I mean,
Oh, I like some of these projects, concrete stuff like pouring around the manholes and stuff. No, like you probably don't have to go out as much either. Do you? Or you prefer to?
Myself,
Yeah,
no, I'm out there,
yeah, I know, but you kind of got these days.
wants to get his hands dirty. Yeah.
oh no, he wants to be out there.
Yeah, you want to see other people.
Oh, sometimes it's like, I used to delegate it.
Delegate the jetting work.
I can't do that. That means nobody takes it.
Okay.
I mean, we all consider the job we don't like, and that's one he doesn't like. There's one I would like to delegate to and brush it up. I mean, it's not bad, but it just seems like you go to a house, you got a little like.
Well, I know one thing we're gonna have clear right now. Is Will jump in and.
Oh, yeah, you know which one.
And he is just worried as hell that if we don't get the right contract with garbage, that we're gonna make them guys go pick up the couch and chairs. Oh,
we
shit,
decided, isn't it?
sitting on the side, I assured him that that was not going to be their job.
No, I finished the
That'd be
RFP.
the summer kids' job.
With a hat and that suit.
I did finish the RFP for garbage and recycling last week, and it has a line item specifically for large pickup. We would still like to have curbside large.
Puts an excavator in the back of a trailer and another trailer behind it. Chuck it in the trailer.
I mean, this has been a busy year on that too. The dumpsters, I mean, this has been,
That dumpster's been emptied a lot.
like probably an average of once a month.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of,
I bet every 2 weeks.
has it been 2 or 3
Oh, yeah.
weeks probably? It's been
Been a lot. But that's
a lot of
laying around.
a lot of mattresses this year too, it seems like.
If it's not there, it ends up somewhere else in the city.
Right.
That's unfortunately, you
It
know.
ends up at the.
At times,
And they were picking it up again.
Well, and I don't know if there was confusion about that in the past or not, but we don't get charged for emptying that. You know, that's built into the contract that we have with Waste Management.
I mean, is there a quantity though that they're allowed? I mean, like once a month or?
Well, I mean, it's just as needed.
Cause like the old guys used to always say, nothing like shingles, which we try not to, like, people do that, but like.
Well, it's
different if you're just fixing a few. I mean, no, you don't want to tear your house up and throw it in there.
Like when we did our salt check, we couldn't even, the Skyman guy said I couldn't put it in the dumpster. I'm like, so I didn't argue with the guys because that's kind of this thing, but it's like,
Yeah.
they're tearing our shed shingles off. They should be able to put it in our dumpster.
But it's possible that under an old contract, we were charged. But at least going back to 2016,
Correct.
we've never been charged for.
And that's your plan to keep with the new program too?
That's the way, that's the way our RFP is written. And it's very possible that, you know, the company can come back and say, no, you know, we can't afford to do that. This is our price and, you know, these are our terms, and that's what we'll do is we'll pick the one that's best for the village, but the assumption right now is that we would continue having that dumpster emptied for free, or not as free, but as part of the package deal.
And we do smash it down as much as we can too, so.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of air normally, so.
Now the recycling guy takes a lot of the steel stuff out of there.
Well, that is an interesting thing too, yes.
He's an interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Brad?
Yeah, your name, are you?
My neighbor, the junk dealer. Or anything you want to get rid of.
The other one, yeah, what do you live on the end?
Drop it
Right next
off
to
and
Andy's. I'll go over there.
Schoolman died.
Yeah, he was the older one.
Oh, who's that guy that we just talked about that's getting the nail site?
Oh,
You know,
Chris Burt,
okay, over here,
across from the water tower.
yeah,
Blue House.
do you have any idea what he's doing with all that concrete he took out of his driveway?
It's just, there's piles all over the yard.
I
There's
know,
one in the
it's all
front, one
over
in.
there, and there's a pile back in the parking lot,
Mhm.
kind of.
Out by Mitch's property.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, that-
who the hell told me to pile it out there?
We just,
Did you do figures over there?
in corner of yeah.
He did get a building permit for the driveway. Yeah, I just drove it by today,
You did?
first time I
Well,
noticed.
and
it's
the
that.
pile sitting on cold storage, that's not even his property.
I think he's using Mitch's backhoe too.
The way he does stuff, it'll probably be about 3 years, it'll be there.
Oh my God.
Because,
If you get a brush pile, a little center for something in the yard.
because that concrete is piled this high on that parking lot.
Well, some of these section on them.
I mean, they're still working on it right now. Maybe we'll wait till we finish it
Well,
up.
yeah, I realize he's trying to clean up the driveway and make a nice sidewalk around. But why,
Why not just haul it out right away? Especially for a scrap company. He has roll off dumpsters.
you know,
He's got a contractor doing it.
He had some other guys, so it wasn't him out there doing it, so.
Yeah.
Here's a contract.
I mean, if he had asked, I wouldn't had a problem with him taking it to the concrete pile.
I'm gonna put it in the pile so you get crushed over there, so stuff.
Right. And that might be his intention.
I have no idea.
We didn't talk about that when he got the building.
That's Sean. Yeah.
Just
maybe throw my 2 cents in. I did, want to admit to a mistake this beginning of the year. And, I mean, I did it intentionally. I don't know that it was a mistake because I did intend to do it, but, not having, a summer helper really hurt these guys a lot this year.
On the list here.
From my point of view in wastewater, for a lot of years, it seemed like, you know, when they didn't have anything for the kid to do, they'd send them over to wastewater. And then the kid would sweep or wash walls or, you know, do odds and ends around the wastewater plant. And that, to me, that just always seems so wasteful. It's like, why do we have this kid if he's just gonna be doing housekeeping chores around the wastewater plant?
That was Joe.
Joe used to do that.
Yeah, we would always find something for him to do.
Between you guys, you'll find something.
Well, at the beginning of the year, I'm like, I would really like to see how they do things without a kid to help them. And I just felt like, you know, that there was the potential there that maybe we really didn't need a summer kid. But in hindsight, I mean, yeah, that kid
Hey, you found out.
really does a lot of work. And it would be my intention next year to make sure that some help.
Okay. Anything out of your department? As far as-
Out of wastewater?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of the same things. We could do a little bit better job cross training on everything. We got Pat going into the loop now because I'm coming up on 30 leave here, so. What I mean, you know, we gotta hit jetting a little bit harder next year. I mean, as far as our department, it runs pretty smoothly. I mean, we got our roles carved out and we just take care of them and we go, so.
that's right, isn't it? You don't get bothered,
I mean, it is and it isn't, as then, you know,
but
again, it goes back to the cross training.
Mhm.
You know,
Sure.
there's stuff I know how to do that I just don't train Trevor on because it's faster for me to do it, but that's not the right. way to do it.
To that.
Yeah.
So.
I know I was gonna ask about generators. We got another new generator going in at the water plant.
It's there, it's big.
Hey,
It's
bigger than you are.
much bigger.
So that maintenance schedule on all the generators, are we keeping that, a written,
Yeah, we're on a maintenance.
ever written?
Well, our generator at the wastewater plant is on a contract with Generac. With Walther.
Walter Power.
Yeah. But they take care of it. Same with the one at the lift station too. So all wastewater stuff is covered under that.
I think all of our power, all of our
But I
generators. are
meant,
Walter Power.
the monthly maintenance, weekly maintenance, running it and all
That
that.
should be automatic.
It's exercised and so like the one at the lift station, I get an alarm for every week when it starts up and shuts off. So I can make sure that one's working. The one at the plant will just hear start up. If it doesn't, we'll be like, if you hear it start up or, you know.
Yeah, you can't miss that. I think.
It'll spit out an alarm too on the screen. If it happen.
Water plants too.
And then ours, well, I'm sure this does too, reported, but we record run times every month on the generator. So every month, when I write the numbers down, you see that it runs a half hour every week, so it was 2 hours this month. You know, but they run every month. And as far as them, I just do the oil changes and maintenance and stuff on them
Okay.
as they need it.
This one out here,
That's manual start. We don't have an auto start on that one.
we don't have another.
So we physically have to go start this one.
The complex one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We did have one emergency run this year. Where we came in and started it during the power outage.
The fire department, they take care of their own. That automatic or manual, I forgot.
It's automatic. Yeah, automatic.
Almost all of those big ones. I mean, usually the big ones are.
We just didn't swing the money when we installed this one. What was it, like 30,000 or something, Ethan, he was telling us?
It was pretty expensive with switching.
Yeah, they all said it's over.
Switch is almost more than a generator.
And so that's why we don't have one here.
We don't need it here.
It's not like the wastewater water plant where
Yeah, we don't care if the computers turn off here.
I was just happy to get one.
Well, the biggest thing is here is for the EDA.
Yeah, and, yeah,
And they, when the power goes out, they can still use this as,
some, I think all of their stuff has got they got small batteries on all their.
yeah, I just meant, yeah. They don't have to have that generator on.
No, right now,
like
right now.
But it's there so that they can have,
They turn it on.
and Sean knows how to start.
And most of the time, that's we'll start without a load because we don't want to shut all their stuff down.
Right.
That would be booted, so that's why
We don't
it usually
normally,
doesn't have a load on it.
normally test that under load. Well, we don't. I guess the other ones you guys do too.
Well, yeah, we do a load test at the. That's part of the.
Well, that's part of their annual.
You know,
It's a 75% load test. The whole plant as a whole is like a third of the capacity on that generator, so.
That's why it's so cool when you look at the new one.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Out at the well 3, I have.
It's,
or at well.
it's like 4 times bigger.
No way.
It's huge.
Oh my gosh, it
Why
might be
do
10
they
feet
need
tall.
it?
Oh, yeah.
And why?
Because it's single phase.
Oh.
Yeah, it was so much for 3-phase out there, so everybody single phase out there. so.
Yeah. It's crazy how that works, but it's huge.
it's monster.
Couldn't get 3-phase out there. No, we
For
couldn't.
a $250,000.
Not 100%, but.
Well, I don't know, I'm good, I just want you to know that we all appreciate you. Each and every one. A good job again this year and we'll do it.
You guys make our job pretty easy to, you know, if we need something, we come to you and talk to you. It's usually not a problem. We talk to you off, at wherever. Makes it easier when you work with us, but.
Good, you know, girls.
And Jason says he is coming back next year from Holga.
Good.
He said he's planning on it.
Good.
Yeah, he's done a really good job.
Yeah,
So once you get caught up, he struggled for a while.
Yeah, and then I don't,
Really watch his start time next year.
if you guys see him, tell him he doesn't have to go balls to the walls all the time. He feels like he can't come take a break. He feels like as soon as he gets to the shop, he'll be gone.
I was trying to encourage him to go out and take breaks with you guys.
Well, he stops up here once in a while.
Before dark or use ball before dark.
It's not that far.
Before.
Yeah,
daylight.
and he's later.
People complain about the longer running at 6 in the morning.
Usually he'll go down like well 6 and go over there, but you still, that's.
You still residential, he had the headlights on the bow and. There was 2 people commenting that day. It was a little.
I mean,
you guys got. If your neighbor mowed at 6 in the morning, you might be a little.
You guys gotta remember though, he's got a new tea time that he's gotta make.
Oh, yeah. And he will go home for his break too, so if someone sees him over there, he goes home for his break.
My neighbor was blowing in the rain, sorry, so.
Jason said,
He's got a push mower.
I mean, there's a few things that broke on the machines, it is what it is.
We got it patched together. I think Jason's probably the best hire in the past 10 years.
I mean, it does look nice, I mean,
You been there?
yeah, I've been there, I thought Bob was really good, but Jason did really. Bob was,
Jason
Jason,
said he wanted to be a golf course.
Yeah.
Greenskeeper.
Before he turned into a police officer.
Bob was very fearful and stuff, but yeah.
But even, I mean, Jason, he took on spraying, I saw him trimming the hedges out here.
Yeah,
I mean, he does a great job.
yeah, he took over trimming trees for us and yeah, the roundup.
Yeah, he used to run.
Yeah.
You can surround
We don't wanna hear that. But use it.
Weed controls, is how we'll say it.
There you go, weed control.
Liquid weed trimmer.
Liquid weed trimmer.
okay,
Next.
I'm good with it.
Guess the only thing I had a question for you guys is on our sick time leave, we had a discussion about that, because as you know, I'm off for a surgery.
Yeah.
And Chris said it's worded that you have to be off for 6 consecutive days or something before you can use sick time.
Sick time or?
No,
it's
sick
your-
bank.
So your sick bank.
In sick bank, which is, 10 week put away.
Yep. At the end of every year, you can roll over 96 hours worth of PTO into your sick time bank, accumulate 240 hours, max.
Yeah.
The way the contract is written, or the personnel manual at this point is written, is, you can only use the sick time after like a 5-day period, like, so for greater than 5 days worth of sick time taken.
We'll have to look at that.
I think personally, I think the original intention was to say that sick time bank could be used for 5 or more days. Not that you have to wait for 5 days before you.
We'll have to look at that and revise that.
Yeah.
Because it is our hours that we put in there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to wait.
Yeah,
The intention was so that you couldn't use the sick time bank as just a day off here and there if you
Right.
wanted it. But that if you had an absence of 5 or more days, then you could use the sick time bank for that entire period, not just starting after the 5 days.
Was that because, was that just for public works or?
That's where it started. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's where it started was Public Works. I mean, that was in the Public Works contract. At this point, it only really applies to Public Works because the police have their own way of doing it with their sick time.
because there was some abuse there.
And that
Was that?
and that could be the
We fixed
reason.
that one.
That could be the reason.
I think that's correct. If we were trying to stop it.
Sure.
Use the sick.
It could be, yeah. I think the intention, the intended solution was to allow you to sick time bank if you had a leave of 5 or more days. So that would eliminate you taking 1 day at a time. But the way that the policy is written is that you can't use the bank until after you've already used 5 days of sick time. Regular.
PTO.
But you can use PTO.
You can use PTO. But at that point, it's like, why not let them use their sick time bank? They're gonna be gone for 10 days. Why not allow them to use
Use
the sick time bank for the entire 10 days?
Yeah, I think we gotta look at that.
Save their PTO.
And just say the
Change it,
PTO.
yeah.
And we can have that on the agenda for the next.
I would have us look at that and adjust that, because that's,
I think Bill was right.
yeah, I don't think, I think it was put in abuse.
It's for
I don't think that's, I think it was written wrong, because I think, yeah, I don't think it was supposed to be after 5 days, I think it was,
Yeah, 5 or more. days.
yeah, I just don't think it was written correctly, but yeah, let's look at that.
Do.
The reason I was questioned was because I knew I was gonna be out for at least a week. And I questioned him, and so we pulled it up and read it, and he said, "We gotta use PTO for the first 5."
And that is common in some workplaces, like at the clinic, that was common that way. You know, Peggy was just hired after the point where they were allowed to bank time. And so it only applied to her for the first few years, but then her mom had been there for decades and had banked time, and she had to use the first 5 days. of leave.
Yeah.
Here's your hours. That's your right. So you
Well,
This is nice because we don't have to use short-term disability.
Yeah, I know they cut back of how many before you can roll over for the following year. You said it's 96
here,
here.
Yeah.
You know, which is, that's
You
pretty.
can only roll over 40 though.
and you can roll over up to 96 hours.
It's a state.
Yeah.
I mean, years ago, like my dad, where I was there.
Which was one day.
He never called in sick, and then he retired 2 years early, just using
Oh, yeah.
that time.
Well, we would not want to
I'm gonna
encourage
get
that.
sick, I was going to get paid for it.
He's saying a lot of problem with that, is that you actually are paying 2 wages. You're paying all that.
New guy.
Time, then you
Yeah.
gotta hire somebody. for that.
Probably replace it.
There's a lot of places where your sick time is your vacation time.
PTO period.
Or
Yeah.
two.
Doesn't matter what you do,
Yes.
you got so many hours to use and.
That's,
So
That's what we
it's all
use
in
them
one
to-
pot.
Then, like we said, we don't have that short-term disability, so that's what we're using.
Yeah.
We do.
But we don't.
But you have to exhaust all your other.
Yeah, and originally that sick time bank was the equivalent of short-term disability policy. What we ever had.
Yeah, it's like.
yeah, let's look at that again at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Last thing.
Thank you very much. for coming.
Thank you. All right,
Football's
Bill,
ongoing.
Appreciate you.
let's set the price of this thing and.
All right, what are we doing on 7?
Well, this came up just because I was thinking about it last week, I guess. The idea of, we already set the purchase price of that lot at $31,000. That's what we picked at whatever meeting that was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Then I was starting to think about developers agreements in general, something to do with the storm sewer stuff, and just how do we do developers agreements? We don't have any hook or any stick to require somebody to build on that parcel after they purchase it in any amount of time. We could write a developer's agreement and say, okay, you can purchase this lot for $31,000, but then you have to build on it within a year.
That's what we want. We
But
don't
what
want
is the
people to say,
incentive for them to do that? Like,
I don't want land speculation like we have in other parts of the village where it's just sitting there and
right.
it'll never be built because,
Right.
well, this is an investment.
Yep.
It's not an investment. We want a house on that.
Oh, no, I agree 100%. My dilemma is that we're gonna end up potentially sitting on it for a while. If you look at Casey's property out there, which he has for sale for about $30,000. Compared to the Gruppner's properties, which we have discounted
Yeah,
because they're in the
because-
TID.
Sure.
We have the stick there. We can say, well, we're gonna sell you this lot at a discounted rate of $15,000,
But you're gonna build on.
but you're gonna build on it. How do we make somebody sign a developer's agreement when they're not getting anything in return except for the lot that they would have got in?
No, so give a little incentive on the price.
I'm just afraid we're gonna end up sitting on it for a long time.
On that lot, I don't think we're gonna sit on that. There's been a lot of people said, hey, what's the price? I'm like,
But like you said, different.
I guess-
we might sit on it, but I also don't want someone just to buy it and then sit on it for 10 years.
Why can't we just leave it at where it is until next spring?
See if it goes.
We certainly
No, we
can.
still with the developers agreement, we want to.
We want to build.
Where it,
Yeah, we want to
There's
build.
gotta be an agreement there.
Yeah, we want to build within, when they have a year to build on it.
No.
Yeah, but we do that in Gruppner's as a.
Just get moving.
Yeah, because we have an investment there.
Yes.
And we're giving them a discount in return.
because of
Because it's it.
But in this area, we're not giving them a break, so it's like. We're making them sign that developer's agreement to commit to building in a year.
Yep.
Which is fine, if that's what you wanna do, I'm just concerned that they might sit there for a
What
while.
were you thinking for price?
Well, I originally, when we talked about demoing the building, I thought we would maybe set the price closer to our cost to demo the building. Because,
just to recoup that.
right, because otherwise, I mean, we're not really out anything else on the land
No,
besides.
want to get the tax base going.
Tax base.
Right.
Oh, that's a big lot. And I don't, and it's got some really nice,
Well.
Trees
the thing
on
is,
it.
Some of them might have come down depending on how you design the house, but it's a good lot.
I think it's,
a nice house.
I mean, maybe you'll squeeze a little bit, but I think the price is right. And if you're gonna buy that, I want you to build something.
Okay, so here's the next question. The stick that we use on the Bruckner's lots is if you don't build within a year, or whatever time frame we give them, we say you owe us the cost to improve that lot. We make them pay for the water and the
Water
sewer.
and sewer.
We put it as a stick in the developer's agreement for the well house number 3 lot to get them to build in a year, if they didn't want to. Do we say they owe us money
What?
back if they don't? Do we say you have to sell the lot?
We don't have a minimal
Well, we
price
have,
on a building we'd want to put there. Do we have one in there? Or you gotta build X amount
Well,
of,
we
X amount of
we
square
don't have that
footage.
either. What would we?
We didn't do that.
We didn't do
no,
that.
but what we do have in Rutgers is also you also tax money on this value.
Right.
in Rutgers.
If you don't build.
Okay. I mean,
That's about all you can do.
that would be the only thing that I could think of is to say, yeah, if you don't build by a certain date,
We're gonna assess
we're gonna
tax.
special assess you the tax equivalent to
Yeah.
that.
That's about the biggest sticky.
That's about the biggest stick you got.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And so I would, okay, I guess for the bill,
Don't buy it unless you find a building.
Right.
And you're gonna put a minimum amount.
I think where everyone else is a minimal, well, on the Gruptons is minimal.
well, you know what? the
Well, we only,
these days
we,
are gonna
we
be-
only have those
And it's it.
at $170,000
Right.
because that was the original math on the pit.
I mean, that's not,
That's the
mobile
whole
home
house.
section.
It's not,
No.
no,
No,
no.
Just asking, there's a couple of them, you know.
no, it ain't happening.
But
No way.
according to our one zoning, you could put a mobile home on a foundation on any lot. I actually had someone approach me about the Freeman subdivision because there's only 2 lots left in that subdivision. You could put a mobile home on. The property owners don't want to sell.
No, double A or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think you gotta just put that stick in there and say, if you're not gonna build, you know, we're gonna assess it at X amount of dollars. And we're gonna-
So what is the minimum assessed value?
175, I mean, my house, my crappy old house is worth 188 without even trying. It doesn't take much to get to 175,000.
That's just been done.
Yeah, the right in ammo. I'm not gonna build ammo.
So,
Yeah, but you gotta make sure that then we stick with it because we've already told a few people that they can't build sheds on,
Right.
so
right.
we wanna get.
It would still have to.
You need a primary structure.
Have a primary structure underneath the residential zoning.
Yeah, I would set it like, set a minimal and say, if you don't build in a year, we're gonna special assess you on the minimal amount that it takes to build it, or that you want a house that
You're gonna buy that lot, it's for.
you're building it.
Yeah, but
But you never know, because other people, they said they
So, no, stipulated.
stipulate it.
125,000.
Fine.
That's a common house, hey.
Yeah, it's
Well, you guys don't have to decide against this, is just at the committee
Committee
level,
level.
but I'll bring it up to the next board meeting and then we'll
a couple weeks.
have the terms of that developers agreement to approve.
Okay,
All right,
that's good.
motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Chris? The schedule?
Well, if you
Adjourn.
want to, not as part of the meeting, but
Damn
we
hurry.
do have a,
Get paid.
we do have a draft of the report.
Less and less every time we have a
Wanna
live
do that
meeting, we said here.
Sure.
Instead of having a special parks meeting, we can do that at the next one.
I'll make a second
Wednesday?
adjourn, but I
Okay.
got one issue.
I can,
Wednesday, right?
what's that?
Yes,
6:30.
Wednesday.
What do you got now?
Our next utility meeting,
I won't be there if I get.
So,
I could-
last
call
week-
in, but
I got a call from a lawyer.
Me too.
Paternity suit?
Yes.
Okay.
And it deals with that lot and someone that, whoever worked for that company, forget the name. They're filing a workman's comp from that company.
That didn't work.
It doesn't matter what I'm trying to say is when a lawyer calls you out of the blue and I asked him, did you talk to the city clerk? Oh, yeah. Then why the hell are you calling me? He lied to me.
Don't
Never called
tell
you?
him a damn thing.
he did call me. I don't know when he
Yeah.
called me.
Well,
Never returned his call.
my issue is don't tell these lawyers anything because
No.
at that point, if they're recording I just said I'm not,
No comments.
well,
No, I never returned his call, neither did Lynn. Called her too.
well, I'm just saying, as a board, you really open yourself.
Oh, I mean,
You have everything to Chris.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's fine.
And that's my
Give
point.
him your name.
I just don't want,
Well, and they all had my numbers.
No, but if it did, I would just.
I asked him how he got my name and he was kinda wishy-washy about
Your name
that.
about
Yeah,
the
it's on-
website.
it's on the website. You have your phone
Well, they
number.
wasn't real clear about it, and I wasn't, it sure sounded fishy. Not the lawsuit, but
Yeah,
the way he's contacting me, that's bothers me.
No, you got it.
yeah, everybody's phone number is on the website.
Okay, fine.
If you guys would rather not have your phone numbers on the
that's fine.
website.
That's what it needs to be. They need to
That's
be on.
fine.
If you ever get a question like that.
Yeah, I heard a message.
Yeah, and they do, and I block the numbers.
We had that at school too. Teachers are always, that tool, don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying it has to be last week.
You here Wednesday?
What?
You here Wednesday?
This Wednesday?
Yeah.
No,
Okay. Who is here this Wednesday? We got a quorum? Well,
As far as the utility committee goes, that's Tom, Pat and Jeremy.
on calendar,
I can call in, I got another meeting in Marshall.
the 24th,
That's
I'm
six.
not here.
So if you wanna open,
you.
Yeah, I'm doing.
if you wanna open a, send me a,
I can,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'll have a meeting in Marshall, so I won't be able to, I can't. Yeah, I can call in on my phone.
Try to be in 2 weeks.
No, I'll end that one. I'll jump